wire. It's going to wrap around the center conductor, and you know, and then when you turn that signal generator on, well, you're going to be putting it right in there at the receiver in that box, you know.
So it's basically one of those gimmick capacitor coupler type things.
Yeah, yeah. There's other ones though. I mean, you know, you can look up designs. There's a couple that use resistors. They have a you know, like a T-pad or an L or something, and they do it that way. But there's also, I think, I've seen a few designs where it's capacitively coupled. But you know, for maximum safety, I just can't think of a reason why you would want to hook directly, because the transmitter could come on. If the transmitter were to come on with that thing, it doesn't do anything. You know, it's just going to transmit into the dummy load. And like I said, you could actually look at the waveform on the oscilloscope.
Oh, I saw it for a second. Because with that one, when the waveform generator's on, the oscilloscope is on, and I saw this gigantic, crazy thing, and then I smelled it, and I was like, oh, man. I just, like, accidentally touched the send key for a second. It wasn't even fully depressed.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, this thing sounds really good, but it looks like it's still down a little bit because it's only showing you about 10/9. I'll have to switch over to the other radio and see what it looks like on there. And somehow I managed to lose the microphone to the new radio. I'm not doing good, Clark.
Yeah, sounds like one of those days, man. Yeah, I had one of my AM transmitters blow up today, so I have to get a piece of a transformer for it. The transformer shorted, and so I got it all ripped apart around here. So yeah, not a good day for radio.
Well, I guess I don't feel so bad because I don't know about dealing with transformers that are hard to find.
Yeah, I already called my buddy, and he's up in Wisconsin. He's got one, and he's got to box it up in wood and, you know, and ship it out just like he did the last one. But yeah, it happens. You know, the problem is the tubes are getting old. You know, and that thing uses IMAX 304TLs that are from the 40s. And you know, I had one getting weak in it, and that's okay. I ran it for a while, and then I realized, okay, it's really weak now. I need to change it. But I had spares, and I had some beautiful, looked like they were brand new spares. I put it in the transmitter, let them warm up, and hit the key, and when I did, both of the tubes arced over inside, and when they did, it shorted the modulation transformer out. And you know, there's no way that you could have known that it was going to do that. Hindsight, maybe I should have, you know, taken them over to my buddies and had them high-pot tested. Well, we typically don't do that. You know, it's just you put them in there and see if they work, type of thing. But yeah, oh well, two beautiful-looking IMAX, but they got no vacuum. So the second I turned that high voltage on, that was it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, oh well. I got other ones to talk on. I have to have him, he was going to go get the transformer boxed up, probably ship it out in a week.
Is that the same thing that you were looking at buying another one of locally or nearby?
No, I don't think so. This one that's in here that's bad, I bought from him probably 10 years ago. And he said, nah, I got a couple more of those back there in the barn, so I'll get you one and ship it out. But it's definitely shorted. And, you know, it's just it's one of those things, like, there's not a real easy way to protect the transformer. I mean, you could put fuses in line with the high voltage leads, but yeah, it's questionable whether that would save you or not. You know, it's I don't know. It's one of those things that it worked for 10 years, and I put a bad tube in, and I blew it up because I didn't know the tube was bad.
So what does it do? Just like melt the winding?
Yeah. It's got the 3,000 volts, or in this case 3,600 volts, and it's got a big capacitor in there that's in that power supply. It's stored up all that 3,600 volts, you know. And so that oil can cap can discharge hundreds of amps at once. It wouldn't be for very long, you know, it may be, you know, tenths of a second or something, but there's hundreds of instantaneous amps available there. And you know, when I hit the key switch, the tube inside did not have, it either had a lot of air in there or it just didn't have enough vacuum, and it flashed over. The vacuum prevents the arc from happening. That's how vacuum tubes work. So when that vacuum drops, because those seals leak over, you know, what is it, 90 something years old? Those are 80, yeah. So they arc, and that 3600 went to cathode, which would be in this case ground. And what's in line is that winding, and so that winding of that transformer just takes a massive hit.
Well, at least you know how to work on that stuff. Like, here with me screwing around with these radios, I realize I'm just kind of gambling, playing the lottery a little bit.
These are ultimately easier to work on because there's no circuit boards. It's just a box with tubes and wires in it. You just have to be very careful because you know, you're working with high voltage, so you can kill yourself pretty easily. You know, I mean that's the big risk with these, but they're ultimately though easier, I think, to work on.
All right, I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna go and get on the other radio so I can compare signals and see how this receiver is doing. KG7H3R.
All right.
Does anybody rewind those transformers?
No. This particular type is a hypersill, and if you've ever seen one, instead of wire wrapped around a core,
Flat tape.
they use a flat piece of copper, and it's wrapped around, and there's no way to rewind it. Once they wind them like that, they dip them in like a tar. It's like some kind of a black epoxy or tar or something.
So I need to check and see.
They pull a vacuum.
Oh,
so
over here.
It pulls all that in there as an insulator, you know. And usually when these things have an internal short like that, you know, they're done.
Okay. Let's see. Get this untangled over here, and hopefully, what I'm hoping is that the signal has come up on receive, but I think it's down a little bit still, but it sounds really good. Okay, look. So he's 20 over, and he was 20 over on the other radio. Okay.
Yeah, it was really popular to do.
He's a little bit stronger.
Gary,
I'd say it's close enough.
if you had like a regular radio transformer that was wound with copper,
Yeah.
enameled
So,
copper wire, you would
man, I don't know how many hours I got into this thing. What time is it? It's 7:53, and I think I came out here about 11. Took a few breaks here and there, but not much. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like about 9 hours. I would just be nice and say 8 hours, and I had 14 or something hours into it yesterday. So, because I worked on it till like 1 in the morning last night, and I went to bed when I finally got the PL to finally lock. But ultimately, it ended up being a loose wire and a bad connection on one of the header pins, and the wire was actually broken, but it was still inside the plastic jacket, and I knew where it was, so I tried to pull all the pins and re-crimp them so they would make better contact, and when I did that, the wire came undone. And so I basically just took the pin and kind of expanded the little baby crimp part, and then soldered my wire in there, and then kind of crimped it back and shoved it back into the connector. So I'm really relieved to finally get it fixed, but at the same time, I'm kind of pissed off about my oscilloscope. So, what you gonna do, right? I guess everybody makes mistakes, but I seem like I make a little bit more than my share. So, if you've been following along, you know, I guess, now that I've pulled the stuff out of the radio that, you know, is worth any kind of money, the CW filters that I don't use, now all of a sudden the thing comes to life when I start putting it back together there. It's pretty funny. And I kind of thought it might too. I was like, it's just my luck. So, I don't know. These are really cool looking radios. I like the way they look. I like the size of them. I like the ergonomics. You have plenty of room. There's some things I would change. I would really like to have a band stack registry. And when I say that, I mean like, so you see where I'm at. If I go up to 40, I'll be on the same multiple of the frequency. And it will stay 353 and 853. So it just depends. It'll go by 500 megahertz. So 853 on 160 will be 853 on 80, and then when you go up to there, it'll change, but you still have that. So you're constantly tuning through the band, and when you, like, you know, on this frequency and you want to go up to 10 meters and you change the frequency and you want to go back here, then you've got to retune. It doesn't remember where you're at. It doesn't have a band stack register. So I don't think they really came out with that until ICOM came out with the 765. But I believe this radio is 1988. I think. It's a 7 million serial number, so it's a newer one. The EEPROM chip in the PLL, or not the PLL, but the digital B board is soldered in and it's not socketed. So, anyway, I'm just exhausted from mentally trying to figure things out.